3.
So this is a brief training video discussing the proper procedure for starting up and utilizing your Timpson Training Unit. As with any energization procedure, we want to follow all the appropriate lockout, tagout procedures that we have established. And we also want to do a very good job of inspection. So before I energize either the Timpson Training Unit or the yard, I'd first want to do a good visible inspection to make sure our circuit's intact, that nobody is in a hazardous location of any kind, and to also make sure that there's not been any vandalism or any damage or anything like that to the unit. Having accomplished that, if I was going to energize one of our circuits, I would first begin by closing the cutouts, feeding the pole-mounted transformers. After we closed those transformers, I would start to go through the startup sequence. Our startup sequence begins with turning the main disconnect on. So I take this handle from the green position and rotate it up into the on position. And when I turn it on, when I get a white light down here at the control panel, I know that the voltage feeding the transformer, the Timpson Training Unit, is effective. You'll notice as I turn that on, this computer boots up. This is really the brains of the system, which help make this a very, very good device for training purposes. This starts to go through its startup sequence, and it starts to assess the condition of the Timpson Training Unit to make sure there's no anomalies. As you can see here, the computer is going through and it just checked the incoming voltage. It verified that we've got adequate DC power, and it's checked the circuit 1 relay, circuit 2 relay, circuit 3 relay, and the self-check pass. Once I get that audible indication from my pole mount transformers, now I know I can proceed to the next step of energizing my Timpson Training Unit. When I look down here, I see that my heartbeat is on, which tells me that the self-assessment of the Timpson Training Unit is underway. And I can also see that I've got a green light that says the global safety system has been enabled. And now I need to operate the global safety reset. In order to operate the global safety reset, I'll take the key and turn it to the reset. Notice as I turn the key to the reset, the alarm circuit for circuit 1, 2, and 3 turned on. I do not and should not have at this point any one of these 3 circuits energized. This is a safety precaution to make sure that we don't inadvertently energize one of these circuits before we're ready. After I get these lights and I get the indication that my global safety system has been reset, then I'll go ahead and remove the key and I will move it up to circuit 1. When I install the key in this reset lock for circuit 1, I twist it to the right, and you'll notice that my alarm circuit now went away. That means that this circuit 1 is ready to be energized. If I remove my lock, if I had a lock and tag here, at this point I would remove my lock and tag from this lockable panel cover, and I press the high voltage circuit. I get the 3 warning audible alarms, and now if you look at the pole mount transformers, you'll also notice that I've got my indicator beacon flashing as well. This circuit is now energized, and I can confirm that it's energized by looking at the current quantities for circuit 1. Currently, it sees A phase at right around 49 milliamps. That current quantity is a reflection of the fact that we've got some transformers out installed on that circuit. B phase and C phase, because they do not have a transformer installed on them, have a lower current quantity. This is an important piece for instructors to know when they're utilizing the Timpson Training Unit. It's also important to recognize that when we energize our circuit with a transformer installed on one particular phase or a particular length of overhead line, that this unit assesses this current quantity and establishes a baseline. When it establishes this baseline, anytime it sees a deviation above that baseline, it interprets that as a potential safety problem, and it will de-energize the circuit. Now that I've energized this circuit, the next thing I want to do is verify the condition of my off or emergency relays. So by pressing this button, I've just de-energized circuit number 1. because I've got this blinking alarm, I need to hit the reset again. If I hit the reset, that enables me to energize circuit 1 again. When I press this button, I also get the 3 audible alarms, and as you can see, my rotating light is indicating that we have an energized status in the yard. Additionally, should something take place and we need to immediately de-energize the yard, we also have this emergency stop button. When I hit that button, I should also get that audible confirmation and an absence of our beacon lights that indicate that I have just de-energized this yard. Since I've used the E-stop this time, when I pull this out, in order to restart the circuits 1, 2, or 3, I need to move my key back down to the global safety reset, rotate this to the right, which then allows me to choose whether or not I reset circuit 1, circuit 2, or circuit 3. There's also an opportunity for us to confirm that the lights and horns work without energizing one of these circuits. If I press the light and horn test, I hear my master alarms that indicate that those speakers are working and that those lights are functioning properly. So, if for some reason you've got some questions about any of these operations, one very good resource is to use the panel itself here. As I look at the main panel, I've got opportunities to look at a couple things. One, if I select the alarm button, I have an ongoing log of all the alarms this Timpson Training Unit has recorded. If I select the data log, I can see a tabulation and a record of the last 9 alarms that this Timpson Training Unit went through, and it will even average those for me. This is an important value to take a look at every once in a while, just to verify that the Timpson Training Unit is detecting these faults in a very predictable and consistent manner. Additionally, from the main screen, I can get to this, the user's manual. Now, there are online copies and paper copies available for this, but for an instructor getting ready to start this unit up, any additional questions can also be consulted here with the onboard user's manual within the panel itself. The system is for technicians. If I select that system tab, I'm not allowed to proceed any further because we don't want to inadvertently change the settings in a Timpson Training Unit to an unsafe condition. If we have to perform some sort of internal diagnostics of this Timpson Training Unit, it's best to contact Timpson Training and to ask somebody to remote in and to utilize the remote access feature of this Timpson Training Unit. So from the main screen, I'm back here to my circuits 1, 2, and 3 and reading in real time what my currents are and establishing that I've got either energized or de-energized circuits.